Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto is severely injured and loses his chance to become a ninja? Naruto x Anko, Part 1. Subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's start the story. Naruto slowly opens his eyes in a sterile room, where he whispers, lifting his right hand to rub his eyes. But the young Uzumaki's eyes widen, as there is no arm just above where his elbow should have been. Naruto attempts to move off the bed, but falls, as his left leg is missing to just above the knee. What? He thought. Nurses rush in, as they hear the noises, and attempt to put Naruto back in his bed, but the 15-year-old blonde struggles violently. Anbu appears, and restrains the blonde to knock him out, allowing the nurses and doctors to finally stabilize him. About 20 minutes later, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Sandaime Hokage enter Naruto's room, seeing the boy laying motionless, but he sees the missing limbs. How could this happen? Hiruzen thought. He approaches the blonde and uses a pressure point to wake him up. Naruto, my boy, Hiruzen says. Naruto's azure blue eyes flutter open, and he looks to see the old man. What happened? Naruto whispers. I was hoping you could tell me what. Hiruzen says, helping Naruto sit up. He looks down at his missing right arm and left leg. I don't know if Iruka-sensei had given me his hit I ate and passed me. Then Anbu came to get the sacred scroll. Iruka-sensei and that bastard Mizuki. Then nothing, Naruto explained. I see. Well, you were found near the forest of death with your missing limbs crushed beyond repair, and doctors were forced to amputate. That was a week ago, Hiruzen explains, and Naruto's eyes widen. Then I missed the team placements, Naruto says, but Hiruzen frowns. Naruto, given your grievous injuries, it would be impossible for you to become a ninja, Hiruzen says, and Naruto looks up in horror. I can get a prosthetic for my leg and maybe learn one-handed signs, old man. I need to become a ninja, Naruto says, desperation in his tone. You can't, Naruto. If people learned of your disability, they would take advantage of it, and I can't do that to you. Unfortunately, I will rescind your passing. I will make sure you have someone to take care of you though, Hiruzen says. Naruto bites his lip as a trail of blood runs down his mouth. You can't do this to me, he hisses. I can watch, Naruto, as Hokage. I need to think of everyone's needs. You would be a liability to your team, and I can't allow you to do what. Hiruzen says, but his breath hitches, seeing the looks of betrayal and anger on the blonde's face. I hate you, all you do is lie to me, Naruto hisses. I have not lied to you, Naruto, if you mean the Kyuubi. That was for your safety, Hiruzen says. A lot of good it did. Now look at me. Do you have any idea what it is like to not know why people hate you? To be overcharged for everything, forced to wear that god-awful orange jumpsuit because it was cheap, Naruto shouts, but Hiruzen says nothing. Now my goal of becoming Hokage is now out of reach because of you. I hate you. Naruto shouts. You may hate me, Naruto, but I am doing this for your own good. I will find you a caregiver and figure out what can be done going forward, Hiruzen says, and turns on his heels to head to the door, stepping out and seeing Anko Mitarashi leaning on the wall. How could you do this to him? Hokage-sama says, with some anger in her brown eyes. I am not going to do this with you. He cannot be a ninja in his current condition, Hiruzen says, and signs. I know you wanted him as your apprentice, but I can compromise and make you his caregiver, he adds, before walking off to return to the tower. Anko glares at the older man and enters Naruto's room. Hey Gaki, she says, her usual chipper tone gone. Hey, Naruto whispers. Anko approaches and pulls Naruto into her soft chest. I'll find the bastards who did this to you, she says. I know you will. However, don't worry, Franken will find them, Naruto says, and Anko smirks. What will you do now? Aso's taking a seat next to his bed. Naruto sighs and runs his fingers through his blonde hair. This is perhaps a blessing in disguise. I can replace my missing limbs with new prosthetics, he says. You plan to cut a limb or two, do that anyway, a deep powerful voice says. Not true, Kyuubi, Naruto thought. Quite the performance for the monkey. I almost shed a tear, the Titanic Fox says, and Naruto smirks. Talking to Fox, Naruto nods. What the village didn't know is that Naruto has known about the fox for nearly 7 years. It was around this time Naruto found the secret lair of an infamous kunoichi named the Dollmaker. A master puppet maker from the First Shinobi War whose lab was hidden underneath the Forest of Death. The blonde saw this as an opportunity to become strong and become with the help of the fox sealed inside himself. He managed to awaken 2 dolls with the fox's chakra, one of which is Franken. The Hokage would suspect something if you showed up with new limbs so quickly, Anko says. Which means I can't stay in this village. Once word spreads of my disability, they'll see me as easy pickings, Naruto says. The Hokage made me your caregiver. I could take you out of the village, suggests. If he says no, Naruto asks. I'll quit and we'll leave together. He can't stop civilians from leaving the village, Anko says. We have ninja skills and I have Kyuubi. He won't let us leave, Naruto says. Unless he wants the other countries to know that their Jinchuriki is now crippled, he'll let us leave, Anko says, and creates a cage bunchen. "I'll leave this clone to help you home," she adds, before heading to see them. "At least I am left-handed," Naruto says, opening and closing his soul hand. "You jack it with your left," and Naruto chuckles a bit. "I use my right," for Naruto comments and giggles. The doctor soon comes and has a disinterested look over Naruto's limbs, discharging him quickly and leaving a crutch for him to use. "He's definitely going on my shit list," says. Naruto with her help gets dressed and she pins up his pants leg to make it easier for him before grabbing a wheelchair to wheel him out the hospital. Be prepared for people to point and gawk, wheeling him through the halls. The pair soon reached the exit as people were looking and whispering about the blonde's injuries. Some felt pity for the blind and few wanted to help him, but their fear of the masses got the better of them. Naruto slowly moves with his crutch as follows at his side, slowly making their way off the hospital grounds and towards his apartment complex. Again some felt pity for Naruto, but more felt this was Kami's way of finally punishing the demon child for its existence. Anko could see the smug looks on some people's faces and she made a note of each one as Naruto kept his head down but could hear their whispers. "Serves the demon right. We should finish it off. It can't fight back now, shh, we can't say that out loud," Naruto hears and gnashes his teeth a bit but keeps a blank face as he slowly makes his way through the village. "Don't let them get to you. They won't and I won't forget either," Naruto says. "Naruto?" a voice shouts and the pair stop to see the town gossip Ino Yamanaka. "Now princess, I need to get him home," Anko says. "Not now, he's missing an arm and a leg," Ino shouts, shock in her baby blue eyes. "We'll talk later, you'll get your gossip," Naruto says, continuing on and leaving Ino to stare at his slowly retreating form. Naruto and Anko continue and soon reach Naruto's apartment complex before hobbling up the stairs to his top floor apartment. He fishes the key from his pocket and opens the door to find a young woman cleaning up. "I'm home, Melfina," Naruto says. "Naruto-kun, thank goodness you are home," Melfina says. She has large brown eyes and her black hair is collar length except for two side bangs that reach down to her shoulders but also has a slender and well-proportioned build. She wears a white blouse with a blue tie, a short black skirt with suspenders that run across her upes, gray tights with black heels, and a gold bracelet on her left ankle. "Let me take a seat," and Anko can explain more of what Naruto says. Melfina, or Sleeping Beauty, was the dollmaker's last doll created, made in honor of the daughter she wished she had. "Would you like some tea, Anko-chan?" Melfina says. "I'm just a clone," Anko says, helping Naruto to the small living room. His apartment is fairly small compared to others with a kitchen and dining area conjoined with a living room, along with a small bed and bathroom. Naruto slowly rubs his stump as Melfina fixes his tea. "You can dispel, I'll be okay with Melfina," he says, looking too. "Alright, but the original will come soon," says, hugging Naruto and dispelling with a puff of smoke. "Who would do such a thing to you?" "Naruto-kun," Melfina says, placing a cup of tea in front of him. Naruto slowly reaches for the cup with a blank look on his face. "Fools who refuse to allow me to become a ninja," he says. "Melfina, I want you to start packing up my things." Once Anko arrives, head to the workshop and pack up. "We'll also acquire a wagon. We'll head to the workshop on the border," Naruto adds, after taking a sip of tea. "You should lay down," Melfina says. Naruto sighs and shifts to lay on the sofa with a stare at the ceiling before slipping into his mindscape with him having all his limbs and standing in front of a large cage. "So what will you do now?" Kyuubi says, its red eyes opening in the shadows of the cage. "Perhaps I can become a Ronin ninja or maybe a merchant and sell my prosthetics. I can make quite the profit," Naruto says. "The Hokage won't let their precious Jinchuriki leave," Kyuubi says. "That's his problem. He's lied to me my whole life and he can lie to the village," Naruto says. Anko makes her towards Naruto's apartment with a scowl on her face. "My respect for the Hokage has been shattered," she thought. She spoke at length about what to do about Naruto, arguing about taking him out of the village for his safety. Here is encountered that Naruto needs to remain in the village, spouting the good of the village bullshit. Does he not care that Naruto has been crippled in such a manner, and people will get some ideas though, reaching Naruto's apartment complex. She halts in her tracks as a very handsome man stands in front of the stairs. "Greetings, Mistress Anko," he says, bowing with his right hand over his heart. He has shoulder-length silky blonde hair with bright blue eyes and a cheerful smile on his face, wearing a black butler uniform. "Anyone tried anything?" Franken asks. "None at the moment," Franken says. Anko slowly nods and makes her way up to Naruto's apartment before finding him laying on the sofa with his head on Melfina's lap. "Will the Hokage let him leave?" Melfina asks. "No, and he tried to stop us. However, we were civilians and I threatened to go to the daimyo about this, so he begrudgingly let Naruto go, but I feel that won't last days. Then we should leave now before they close the gates," Naruto says, opening his eyes. "I will go and pack up the workshop and acquire a wagon," Melfina says, shifting Naruto off her lap and going to grab a blue shawl. Not wasting any time says. Why wait? It gives more time for the old man to change his mind, Naruto says, rubbing the stump of his leg. Naruto, once we're set up and safe, would you make me a doll says, looking into his azure blue eyes. What sort of doll, a sex one, Naruto says, joking, but sees the look on her face. No, I want you to make me a doll says, seriously. I'm tired of this fucking mark, and becoming a doll frees me from that bastard says. Naruto leans back on his sofa with a chill running down his spine. Do you know what you are asking, he says. Anko moves from her spot and takes a seat next to the blonde as he turns to look into her brown eyes. I am serious, as a heartbeat. I would rather live a half-life than a cursed one, she says, and Naruto sighs. Fine, once we're safe Franken, and I will turn you into a doll, though I have some questions, Naruto says. The blonde would ask his caregiver a myriad of questions, from did she want to have children, did she wish to continue eating and or drinking? Did she wish to continue sleeping, or did she wish to continue using the bathroom? Well, the bastard did fuck up my uterus, so that is definite. Could you make me younger says. How younger, Naruto asks. 18, closer to your age so I can pop your cherry properly replies, and Naruto blushes a little bit. Master, we have some guests, Franken says, appearing in the doorway. I'll take you to my place says, helping the blind to his feet. Grab the duffel bag over there, Naruto says, and looks to Franken. Observe them for now, Naruto says, and Franken bows, vanishing. Anko grasps Naruto by his right shoulder and the pair vanish with a swirl of leaves. Outside, Franken spies a few nondescript jonin and chunin approaching. We can finish what the yondaime started, one says, and get some moderate chuckles. The group kicks in Naruto's door and enters the apartment before they start to trash the place in search of Naruto, but they do not find him. Where is the demon? One snaps. Who knows, it must have crawled off, another says. Well, let's set the place on fire. He doesn't deserve a place to live, a third says, and all of them agree. Franken watches the apartment catch fire as Melfina lands next to him. Naruto-kun will not be happy, she says. But it will provide a distraction, Franken says. I have sealed the workshop. Now I need to get a wagon for travel, Melfina says. We won't need it. I'll carry master, it would be faster that way, Franken says. The two dolls watch the group escape from the complex as people start to gather to see if Naruto is going to die. Let's get back to what Master Franken says, and both vanish. Several minutes pass before he arrives with a few Anbu. Put out the fire, Hiruzen shouts, and the Anbu use Suiton Jutsu. It would take about 20 minutes for Anbu to put out the fire, but there was no way to save the apartment complex. Interviewing everyone and finding out what happened, Hiruzen orders and vanishes with a leaf shunshin, reappearing at Anko's apartment. The Sandaime knocks, but finds the door unlocked. I suspected, as much, Hiruzen thought, entering the apartment and finding no one but a note. Don't look for me, old man, the village has been my prison since, as far back as I can remember. You would always tell me to give the people time, but am I supposed to set myself on fire to keep these people safe? Losing my arm and leg have opened my eyes. These people will never see me as anything other the fox, so I am done. And I will live my own life, signed Naruto Uzumaki, the dollmaker's legacy. Hiruzen reads, and his eyes widen as his breath hitches. How long of a head start do we have, shouts, riding on the back of Franken. Maybe an hour, Naruto shouts, riding on Melfina's back. The four were making their way through the trees at a rapid pace, and unlike normal ninja, the pair didn't need to stop for breaks. You'll definitely send Anbu after us, Anko says. Maybe so, but I refuse to go back to Konoha, as I am now. He would be signing my death warrant, Naruto says. We'll protect you, Naruto-kun, Melfina says. I know what Naruto says. Master, we pursues Franken and looks back to see Anbu, but wearing blank masks. That's not normal, Anbu, Anko says. Stop in a clearing, Naruto says, and the pair leap down into a large clear, letting Naruto down, as does the same. 3 Anbu drop down in the clearing as the remaining 9 surround them. Naruto Uzumaki, you are to surrender to us, one says, their tone monotone. Who are you? You're not normal, Anbu shouts, seeing no on their masks. You are to hand over the Jinchuriki, another says, as more of them appear. Franken. Can you defeat them quickly, Naruto says. Franken's cheerful smile shifts into a sadistic smile as lightning cascades across his body. Yes, master, he says. He vanishes with a swirl of grass as the first Anbu crashes into a tree with a mask caved in before sliding to the ground. Franken is made for combat compared to Melfina. His specialty is lightning, Naruto says, watching the fall to Franken. His speed proves to be too much as he seems to attack from every direction with his feet. Fists are their own weapons. One tries to go for them, but Anko sends several snakes from her sleeves to bite her, pumping her full of poison. Franken brought me one, Naruto shouts, seeing he was close to finishing. Franken drags no Kunoichi towards his master with his hand clutching her head. Here you are, master, he says, removing her mask. She has short, straight black hair and dark eyes which contrast with her translucent looking pale skin. She wears a short black and gray jacket with red straps, a high-collar midriff shirt, black pants, shinobi sandals, and gloves with her index and thumb fingers exposed. "Who sent you?" Naruto asks, but Na says nothing. "I could torture her," says, pulling out a kunai. We don't have time for what Naruto says and looks at Na in her blank eyes. "Who sent you?" "I cannot tell you what Dickless the Kunoichi says," a fake smile on her face. Franken is about to snap her neck, but Naruto raises his hand. "We'll keep her alive," Naruto says. "Why?" "Her eyes are like mine," Naruto says, before Franken knocks the Kunoichi out. "I'll seal her in a prisoner scroll," Anko says, and seal the Kunoichi away. "What about the rest?" she adds. "We'll take them." "I can use more materials," Naruto says, and Franken bows, preparing to seal the bodies away. "I think I know what Anbu," Anko says, picking up a mask. Naruto asks, and Anko nods. It was a division of Anbu called Naruto. It was run by an elder of the village named Danzo Shimura, however they were disbanded years ago. "Doesn't seem to be the case," Naruto says, as it helps him up. "Regardless, we need to be on our way. The longer we linger, the closer the old man can get to finding us," Naruto says. The four continue west towards the border of fire and wind countries, but at the same time, underneath the streets a man awaits his quarry. "Danzo-sama, Team Delta has gone dark," a man says, covered in dark clothes with only his mouth and nose visible. "The Jinchuriki's puppets are strong," Torin Danzo says. He has shaggy black hair and an X-shaped scar on his chin with the right side of his face bandaged. He wears a white shirt with a black robe to the floor and hangs from his right shoulder. "It would seem so, Danzo-sama. Do we send another team to town? We'll leave him alone for now. However, contact Orochimaru. Have him capture the boy. Give him the general direction orders and vanish." The crippled Jinchuriki is a useless weapon, but since he has the dollmaker's skill, that may no longer be the case, Danzo thought. "Have you been to this workshop?" as they are now near the border. The forests have thinned out to farmland with towns thinning as well. It has been just over a day since their encounter with Ana, and they've acquired a small wagon. Only Franken has been to awaken C2 and 9T to begin cleaning and upgrading, Naruto says. "The area is hidden by special seals our creator made to an outside observer at an abandoned fort," Franken explains. "No one will disturb us?" Anko asks. "I do not know, but the main workshop is underground like the one in Konoha. I'm sure C2 has come up with a cover story for the locals," Franken says, urging the horse up a small incline. Anko narrows her eyes as she feels the telltale sign of Jinjutsu as they come down the incline, passing two large trees, and her eyes widen slightly as an abandoned fort comes into view. The group passes through the gates, but to a refurbished fort. "How is this seal powered?" "ASOS. I do not know, but our creator found a way," Franken says, bringing the horse to a halt. Melfina and Anko help Naruto from the wagon as Franken takes the horse to the stable. C29T Melfina shouts. A figure leaps from the guard tower, and it is a young man with white hair and a black cloth over his eyes, wearing all black. "Is this our new master?" the figure says. Naruto limps closer towards him with a nod. "I am 9T, I am Naruto Uzumaki, the Dollmaker's legacy," he says, and 9T falls to one knee. "You don't have to bow to 9T," Naruto says. "9T, has our master arrived?" a serene voice says. Naruto looks to see a young woman with silvery white hair and a covering over her eyes like 9T, wearing all black as well. C2 Melfina says, going to hug her. "Melfina, you have finally awakened when Franken told me I did not believe it," C2 says, and sees her new master approaching, before bowing like 9T. "As I said to 9T, you don't have to bow. You are all my family, and to prove that I will give you new names," Naruto says, shocking both C2 and 9T. "We are unworthy," but Naruto shakes his head. "You are living beings and deserve proper names. Now let's go inside." "I need to sit," Naruto says. The pair bow at the waist and lead the others inside, but sees C2's ass, causing her to give a silent whistle. "Can I get an ass like her?" whispers to Naruto, and the blonde blushes. C2 and 9T lead them to a small living area as Melfina helps Naruto to a cushion. "How is the workshop? Can we begin working?" he asks. "Yes, master, everything has been properly stocked, upgraded and cleaned," C2 says, and looks at his missing limbs. "What happened to you?" she adds. "I was maliciously attacked by a ninja of Konohagakure." Naruto starts and explains how after stealing the sacred scroll and learning the Kage Bunshin, he was attacked by several, and with one having a sledgehammer, who used it on his limbs, and due to so much trauma, the doctors had no choice but to amputate said limbs for his safety, or so they told themselves, as this was a chance to cripple the demon child. "How horrible," C2 says. "Those bastards may just get away with it too," Anko says. "No, they won't, Mistress Anko. I left several clones to hunt down those vile dogs who harmed our master Franken. Regardless, I need to replace my missing limbs. Also, Anko wishes to become a doll, and I need to design her a new body, Naruto says, but snaps his fingers. But first, your new names C2, you will now be known as Yui, 9T will be known as Natsu, he says, and both bow. Thank you, Master Yui and Natsu in unison. Now let's head to the workshop, Naruto says, and Franken lifts the blonde onto his back. The group make their way to the basement of the fort when Yui opens the floor and leads them down a series of steps in 8 succession. The workshop remained mostly intact with the exception of the living area, but Natsu and I have redone it to make it livable once again, Yui says. We also stock non-perishable foods, and the forest has plenty of game to hunt for you, Anko-sen adds. I can head into town to select meals, Melfina says. They soon reach the bottom and gasp, as it looks very similar to the workshop in the dollmaker made sure to be able pick and choose which workshop she worked in, she says. The ease of transition, Naruto says, as Franken puts him down in a chair. Now Natsu, Yui, I need you both to take Anko and I's measurements. Franken deposits our guests and gets the living one's measurements as well. Melfina, Anko and I could go for something to eat, Naruto says, and the 4 dolls nod, beginning their duties. So what are you going to do with that, Kunoichi asks, beginning to strip down to her birthday suit. I don't know yet, but I saw the same look in her eyes that I have on my own. I would like to free her, Naruto says, as Natsu helps him undress Yui and take their complete measurements from their waists and hips down to their legs and arms, their necks, heads, even their fingers, toes, and upace. Do you like what Naruto-kun says? I do, and do you want your upace to remain that size or go down a cup, Naruto asks. Same size, I love my girl, says, pushing up her upace. They soon finish and redress as they retrieve a temporary leg for Naruto. Thanks, Natsu, Naruto says, finally being able to walk but still with a noticeable limp. I shouldn't make a normal looking limb. The old man will now know I am the new dollmaker, but to what extent is unknown to him, Naruto says. So what are you going to ask, following the blonde down a hall? Something for combat, I still want to be able to defend myself, Naruto says, entering a room. It houses various body parts in a variety of materials, some looking like traditional balls and joint puppets to human-looking limbs. I think I'll make my new limbs out of chakra-conductive metal. With a few seals added for good measure, Naruto muses, looking over the various limbs. Anko looks over the various parts and starts to think her new body would be made from this. Franken enters with their measurements. Shall I start on Mistress Anko's new body, he says. That's fine, Naruto says, and looks at, as I said, Franken can perform the surgery and I'll assist him with the one hand, he adds, as she looks over Franken. Don't worry, Franken's skills are comparable to mine, or if not better, he can perform the surgery much faster than me, or you can wait until I have my new arm, Naruto states. Let's see how he builds my body first, says, and Franken smiles. Anko wishes to be younger to about 18 and her bust size to remain the same as in DD Cup, but her ass to be like Yui, Naruto says, and her other preferences. Franken looks over the measurement paper and starts working at lightning speed with various parts on the doll body. Anko gasps as the doll body looks less and less as a generic doll, but an almost replica to her body. The body is slightly younger to her current self, but a nice ass-like, supple upace and a thin waist with wide hips. I'll need to dye the hair to the proper color and find the right color for the eyes, Franken says. Anko looks at the doll body and it looks like her younger twin. Wow, this looks like me, she says, touching the doll's upace, and they were soft. How was the doll maker about to make such a lifelike doll's ads? Our creator was a one-in-lifetime talent, Franken says, as arrives to call them for their meal. Hiruzen sits at his desk thinking about how things have gone off the rails. How could Naruto have found out about the doll maker, he thought. He has yet to inform the council that Naruto has left the village, but this was a serious matter. Hiruzen's door opens and steps in with the sound of his cane filling the room. It seems the Jinchuriki have abandoned the village, Danzo says. He has not abandoned the village. Naruto's life would be in danger if he remained, Hiruzen says, trying to spin it that he allowed Naruto to leave. The broken weapon is a useless one. You're naive thinking allowed this to happen, Danzo says, and Hiruzen glares at his old rival. He deserved a normal life, Hiruzen says. Which never would have happened the moment he became our Jinchuriki. Now he is useless to us, Danzo says, digging into Hiruzen at every turn. This village has not relied on a Jinchuriki in its existence. We will not start now, Hiruzen says. We may not use a Jinchuriki, but they are a deterrent if we go to war. The boy has a use, Danzo says, and Hiruzen clenches his pen. Get out of my office, Danzo. If I find out you went behind my back and informed the village of Naruto leaving or send your Na after him, I will have you execute, Hiruzen says, and turns on his heels, with no further words. Hiruzen places his pen down and taps his desk as an Anbu with a cat mask and long purple hair appears, wearing the standard Anbu attire. Nico, I want you to take a team to find Anko Mitarashi and Naruto Uzumaki. You are not to engage, but I need their whereabouts, Hiruzen says, and Nico bows, vanishing. In another part of the village, Ino is walking with her teammates Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akimichi, along with their sensei Asuma Sarutobi. Asuma-sensei, so you don't know where Naruto is? Ino asks. No, I don't, but why do you want to know? Aso's, cigarette hanging limply in his mouth. Well, for one, he's missing 2 of his limbs and his apartment complex burned down, Ino says, shocking her teammates. Wait, back up, missing limbs? Shikamaru says. Yes, I saw him with this slutty looking lady and he was missing 2 limbs. How could that happen? Says, no longer feeling like eating his chips. Asuma looks over his 3 students and debates telling them somewhat of the truth that Naruto was attacked and vanished into the night. Maybe it was a training accident, says, deciding not to. Ino halts in her tracks and looks back at her sensei. What training accident could do that? Naruto didn't even graduate, she says. The kind that could happen if you don't train properly. Now let's go, we got a mission to begin, says, and Ino grumbles about training. In yet another part of the village, Hinata Hyuga was not doing well as her stalking, or rather following, of Naruto yielded some serious issues for the young heiress. One is that Naruto has been crippled and can never be a ninja, but also has vanished. Where could Naruto-kun have gone? What's wrong? Hinata Kiba Inuzuka says, followed by his puppy Akamaru barking. Perhaps she is thinking about Naruto Uzumaki Shino Aburum. That loser failed, Kiba says, laughing, but stops as Hinata is actually glaring at him. That's enough. We have training to get through, Kurenai Yuhi, and their sensei says, concern in her ruby eyes. For if she doesn't learn what happened to him, it will certainly hamper her. I should speak to Hokage-sama. In yet another part of the village, Kakashi Haddock watches his team of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Ami paint a fence with his favorite book in his hand, but his thoughts were on a certain blonde. How could this happen? I should have been there for him. Sensei forgave me for failing your son, Kakashi thought, but suddenly Nico appeared behind him. Senpai, I am in need of your tracking hounds, Nico says, and Kakashi looks back. Hokage-sama wants me to find the location of Naruto Uzumaki and Anko, she adds. Kakashi closes his book and pricks his finger to summon a small pug with a blue vest, to the shock of his young team. What do you need, Kakashi? The pug says. Akin, I need you to assist Nico in locating Naruto Uzumaki and Anko Midarashi, Kakashi says, and Pakin nods, hopping onto Nico's shoulder, and the pair vanish. Why do the Hokage need to find what Narubaka? Sakura says, being noisy. Kakashi opens his book back with an eye smile. No serious reason, now back to painting or Ami will beat you, he says, causing Sakura to bristle and return to painting. Anko lays on the operating table with hooking up the anesthesia as Naruto is sitting next to her. Naruto, I'm scared, says, looking at the blonde. Naruto squeezes her hand with a sigh. I am too. This is major surgery with a margin of failure, but Franken and I won't fail, he says. Franken is opposite them with the various surgical tools at the ready. Mistress, when you awaken you will be a whole new woman, he says. You won't leave me? Why, you'll be here when I wake up, says, her voice breaking a bit. Naruto rubs Anko's head with a soft smile on his face. I will be the first person you see, he says. Yui starts the anesthesia and places a mask over Anko's face. Please count back from 20, Yui says. Anko slowly starts to count and glances at Naruto as Franken helps him with his apron and glove. Naruto, she whispers, before losing consciousness. Now then, let's begin saving my friend from her cursed life. Scalpel, Naruto says, and hands him the item. The blonde slowly cuts into Anko's body and opens her up to make her a whole new person. The surgery would take several hours with Naruto using a few Kage Bunshin to assist him and Franken, but it would be a success, freeing from the taint that is Orochimaru. Naruto sits in a comfy chair with his leg up and a blanket over his body as he awaits Anko's coming off the anesthesia, but his thoughts drift to how he learned to do this. Flashback. 8-year-old Naruto looks around to find himself in what appears to be an old bunker. Where am I? He whispers. Welcome to my workshop, an almost automated voice says. Naruto whips around to see what appears to be a woman, but nearly all of her body is made of gears and metal. Who are you? He says. It's a message, where a deep voice says, and Naruto whips around but suddenly finds himself in a sewer. This way, boy, the voice says, leading Naruto to them. He finds a massive cage as 2 red eyes open among the shadow. Who are you? Where am I? Naruto shouts. This is your mind. I pulled you in here as it is time we meet, the voice says. The shadows pull back to reveal a massive orange fox with 9 tails swishing menacingly. Why, your Naruto sputters. I am the great and powerful Kyuubi no Yoko. The one your great Yondaime was said to have killed, the fox says, and Naruto falls to his knees. So all the looks and attacks were, Naruto says. Yondaime sealed me inside of you and could see the boy having a crisis, but pushed him out his mind. Naruto gasps as he is standing in front of the clockwork puppet as the message continues to play, introducing herself as the dollmaker. The message continues that now that Naruto has found her workshop, it now falls to him to bring back her work and awaken her children. The puppet would guide him to Melfina, and the blonde thought she was so beautiful. How can I awaken her? Flashback end. Naruto snaps out of his memories as soft groaning echoes and he sees Anko's eyes slowly opening. Finally awake sleeping beauty, he says, getting to his feet and limping next to her bed. I can't move, Anko says, her voice almost sounding wooden. Naruto pulls her sheet back and places his hand on her stomach because there is one last step. Adding the Kyuubi's chakra, he says. Bai says, seeing red chakra bubbling from Naruto's hand and entering her new body. Biju chakra is quite special and so potent it can saturate the very air for periods of time. It is how I awakened Franken and Melfina. When I found the workshop I poured all over the doll maker's knowledge to learn to awaken them. I tried electricity, it was unsuccessful. I tried normal chakra and it had limited results, but Biju chakra did the trick, and funnily enough it replenishes itself, Naruto explains. Anko slowly starts to feel her limbs, but her body still feels a little numb. Try sitting up and walking. The numbness will subside, Naruto says, helping her sit up. Anko slowly gets to her feet with the bed as support and Naruto gives her his cane as he sits down before taking a few steps but sees a rolling cart with a sheet over what looks like a body. Is that what's left of Emmy, says, her speech getting better. Naruto rubs his stump with a nod. Natsu is about to take it to the crematorium, he says. Anko makes a few rounds around the bed and gives Naruto back his cane. I feel so much better, lighter even, she says. A happy customer, Naruto says. Anko smiles and slowly gets dressed as he rubs his leg. So there were others you did the surgery on, she asks. There were, but they didn't live long enough to enjoy their gift, Naruto says. Anko approaches and pulls Naruto into her chest. Thank you, Naruto. You've given me a new lease on life and I will do everything to repay what, she says, sensually stretching each word, and Naruto blushes deeply. Naruto sits at a small drawing table as he designs his future right arm and some accessories for it, such as a small chakra converter to create a miniature flamethrower, a set of retractable claws, and 5 special puppets that will be sealed in each finger. It has been just over a month since he left with Melfina and Franken. Speaking of Anko, a pair of upes land on Naruto's head from his very special friend. Nice looking arm, Anko says. She is now wearing black body stocking with a white tank top showing her midriff and gray sleeveless jacket that resembles a welding cape sleeve, gray jean shorts with knee-high boots having a small heel. Yeah, my new leg will have a similar chakra converter, Naruto says, continuing his drawing. Will the animals be similar to us? They won't be able to talk, but will have natural instincts, Naruto says, holding up a drawing of a turtle. I may have him use kaiten and spew flames, but also be able to fly by sucking in his legs, Naruto says, putting the paper down. Anko looks through the drawings to see a white tiger, 2 wolves with one being white and the other black with the last being a white 3-tailed fox. Inspired by what Kyuubi says, Naruto nods. HMPH need more tails, comments. Naruto rubs his stump with a small snort and turns in his chair to get up with Anko's help. It's been a month. How do you like your new body? It feels great, I'm so much stronger and my control is nearly perfect. Anko says and leans near his ear. I can even have sex for hours. She coos, blowing his ear. Naruto blushes and attempts to limp faster. Please stop, he says. Not happening, so when are we having a foursome with Melfina, and Yui adds, and Naruto nearly falls at that one, causing her to laugh. Naruto reaches his room and helps him onto his small bed. Once I am fully mobile we'll head to see the daimyo, he says. Do you think she'll do anything, Anko asks, taking a seat next to him. I can only hope so, or I'll need some serious money to keep Konoha off my back, Naruto says. Natsu opens Naruto's door with a small frown on his face. We have several chakra signatures near the barrier, he says. Naruto sits up with a groan and clutches the sheets of his bed. Could it be someone wandering, he says. No, their chakra levels are near Jonin and above what Natsu says. I'll go check it out, have Yui on standby and you stay on overwatch, and kiss Naruto on the forehead. Be careful, Naruto says and smiles, following outside. How far away are they as they reach the surface? They haven't reached the barrier, but close enough to be an issue, Natsu says. Anko changes into her older self in case and passes through the barrier towards their guest's general direction. That Konoha have found us, leaping from branch to branch, but her new sense of sound catches the sound of several heartbeats. She lands on the road as a few Konoha Anbu appear, but she recognizes one, Nico, Anko says. The other Anbu takes defensive stances, but Nico raises her hand. Where is Naruto Uzumaki, she says. Safe, he's not going back, says, keeping her stance guarded. We did not come to fight. Our orders were to know his whereabouts, Nico says. Like I said, he's safe, and if the Hokage really wants to help him he'll tell the daimyo what happened to him, Anko says. She seems off, smells funny, and Nico glances his way. Anko, I know Naruto is severely injured, but taking him from the village, once people learn what you did the reputation you built up will be gone, Nico says, but scoffs. So what, I have friends that I can count on one hand. People will always see me as Orochimaru's student and wonder if I am traitor. Besides, I am no longer a ninja, says. Nico could tell that this would go nowhere and she glances to her team. Akami head back to Konoha and informs Hokage-sama that I will stay behind and I will ascertain Naruto's status and return. Captain? Are you sure, Kame says, and Nico nods. The other Anbu were still weary but followed their captain's orders before they vanished and Pakken dismissed himself. Why did you stay behind? Anko says. Naruto is my former sensei's son, Nico says, and removes her mask, revealing a beautiful face with warm brown eyes and a dark shade of lipstick. Alright, but there are things you should know, and you can't tell the Hokage, Anko says, and drops her hinge, shocking Nico that Anko looks noticeably younger. What happened? Nico says. Naruto can explain it to you, Gao. Now follow me, Anko says. The pair make their way back towards the fort and pass through the barrier as Yui stands with a long katana in her right hand. She's cool, Yui, Anko says. Who's she? Yugao asks, following Anko inside and underground. She's Naruto's protection, Anko says. Yugao couldn't believe what she was seeing, but more so, before long they reach Naruto, who is now in the main living area. Naruto is Yugao Yuzuki, but you may know her as Nico, Anko says. Naruto rubs his stump as Yugao looks him over. I remember her. She used to watch me when I was younger. She was always very caring to me and made sure I was safe. Compared to my other Anbu guards, he says. That's not all I knew, your mother says, and Naruto's eyes widen slightly. She trained me in Kenjutsu, she adds. Was she Kashina Uzumaki? Naruto says, and slowly nods. How did you know? Yugao asks. Naruto slowly shifts in his chair with a sigh. Well, I had no evidence, but you confirmed it. Kyuubi told me I was like that blasted Uzumaki. I did some research and found out about Kashina Uzumaki, he explains. I see now what has happened to Anko. Why is she younger than I am now? Yugao says. Because technically she is. Anko is no longer a normal human because I have become the Dollmaker's legacy, Naruto says, as Yugao's eyes widen and flicker. That's probably why the Hokage told you not to engage him, adds. I've heard stories about the Dollmaker, but how are you, her legacy? Yugao says. How about you take a seat and I'll explain what Naruto says, and slowly does. Well, go and get Melfina to make them some tea. It was around the time you were transferred away I was left in the forest of death by some jonin. I was lost, but I fell into the secret workshop of the original Dollmaker and met the Kyuubi. Naruto stars. Melfina arrives with the tea and serves it to them as Naruto clears his throat. At first I saw this as a way to become Hokage and show the village, but thanks to Melfina and Franken, I realized it was a futile dream. Who is Franken? Yugao. He's my older brother of sorts. He's currently acquiring some chakra metal for Naruto-kun's new limbs, Melfina replies. After learning some hard truths I poured over the Dollmaker's work and started learning. I tried making my own dolls with various successes and failures. I slowly became desensitized to all Naruto states after drinking some tea and seeing the blank look in his eyes. I was his first success, Anko says. You were not the first, there were others, but they didn't get to enjoy it. But yes, Anko is in a way my first successful doll, Naruto says and sticks her tongue out. Wait, Anko is a doll and others, Yugao says. I use people who could afford to disappear or bandits from outside the village. As for Anko, it was to save her from Orochimaru's curse mark, which was actually killing her, Naruto explains. I asked Naruto to make me younger. Well, to be closer to his age and pop his cherry, which I will say, and nearly spit out her tea. Regardless, I don't plan to go back to Konoha anytime soon. I plan to train and become something the old man can't ignore, Naruto says. Yugao finishes her tea in thought and attempts to digest what she has heard. Perhaps I can tell you, I can teach you the same Kenjutsu styles Kashina-sensei taught me these days. Don't you have your duties in Konoha? I can use a liberal use of Kage Bunshin to shorten the time. Plus I have a very good memory. Even with my missing arm I can redo them from memory, Naruto says and nods. Hiruzen stares at the report from Akami concerning Naruto and Nico staying behind. Perhaps she'll convince them to return, he thought. He then picks up a report of several people found beaten in similar fashion with one arm and leg broken. After checking them with, it is revealed all of them had a hand in Naruto's accident. Could he have used his dolls as retribution, Hiruzen thought. Even though all of them have been caught, it won't make Naruto come home. I'll need to contact Jiraiya. Perhaps he can talk to Naruto and finally step up as his godfather, Hiruzen thought. A knock on the door catches Hiruzen's attention as Kurenai enters his office and he could see concern in her posture. How can I help you, Kurenai? Well, Hokage-sama, it concerns Hinata. She's been in a slump since graduation and it concerns Naruto, Uzumaki says, and this causes Hiruzen to frown before urging her to continue. Hinata has an infatuation with him, and the rumors of his injuries and disappearance have affected her. Hiruzen sighs in thought for a moment about the situation at hand. Perhaps if I can speak with her I can alleviate her concerns. Perhaps that can work with Hokage-sama. Speaking of which, Kurenai asks. He was taken out of the village by Anko. Considering what has happened, as of late I felt it best to do so, though they are not living in a set location. Hiruzen replies. I see, if you excuse me Hokage I will return with Hinata, Kurenai says, bowing and excusing herself. I do not believe it will put her at ease, but all I can do is tell her he is safe. About a half hour later, Hiruzen could see Naruto's disappearance had affected her. Hinata, Kurenai tells me you haven't been doing well, he says. Yes Hokage-sama says, stuttering her words. And it concerns Naruto. Hiruzen says, and Hinata slowly nods, well I know you are concerned about him. So I will alleviate your concerns. Yes, Naruto was indeed severely injured with the loss of 2 of his core limbs, he adds, pausing a bit. Hinata looks up with tears in lavender-tinted eyes as Hiruzen continues, and because of this one of our Jonin took Naruto out of the village, he says. What about his apartment says, and Hiruzen frowns. That was an unfortunate accident, Hiruzen says. Kurenai could tell she was manipulating her student by using her crush on Naruto to get her to be better. It is wrong, but she needs to get stronger. At this rate her father will apply the cage bird seal to her and name her younger sister as heiress, she thought. Hiruzen finishes his honeyed words to the heiress and dismisses the pair with a sigh. This all I can do. Hiashi is a cold man, and if she falls further into her depression, he'll simply get rid of her, he thought. Azure Blue stares into a doll-like black as a silent stare-off happens between Naruto and the nameless Kunoichi from Na. Each day since he brought her here the blonde would speak to her and try to learn more about her, but she is very emotionally deficient, having no real personality of her own. She had only basics in her gear with a tipless tanto, a sketchbook, and painting supplies. Why are you keeping me alive dickless, the Kunoichi says, a fake smile on her face. Naruto sighs as he closes a book on medical theory. Perhaps it was a whim, but you have the same eyes as me, he says. The Kunoichi tilts her head in confusion. You are a strange dickless. Our eyes are different colors, she says. What I meant is not in color, but in emotion, Naruto says. Emotions are useless. I do not have them, Kunoichi says, but Naruto holds up the book that was in her possession. Yet you had this with you, learning to connect with others, Naruto says, tossing the book through the bars to her. She slowly picks up the book and looks back up to Naruto. Nico tells me that your leader Danzo forces one to erase all emotions from themselves to be cold and efficient. However, your eyes still hold them, he says. No, I am not dickless. I am a tool for Danzo-sama, but now I am a broken tool, Kunoichi says. Naruto slowly rises from his chair with the aid of his cane. Tools are meant to be discarded, Danzo must see me in the same way. However, I am not a tool, but a person, he says, moving closer to the bars. I know you have a seal on your tongue and a cyanide tooth. The latter has been removed, but I can remove the former if you wish to be free of Danzo, Naruto. You are nothing like your profile, dickless, the Kunoichi says. Why do you call Naruto dickless? He certainly is not. I can attest to what Anko says. It is customary to give one a nickname, beautiful, the Kunoichi says. Anko stares at the pale girl and laughs a bit. Well, if that is the case I'll call you vampire. Come on, Naruto. Nico is about to leave and Naruto slowly nods. Oh, one last thing, what is your name? Naruto asks and the Kunoichi stares at the pair. Sai, Kunoichi says. Well said, as we continue to talk I will give you back your sketchbook, Naruto says, falling out of Sai's cell. So what are you going to do with her once they are far enough away? That will be up to her. If Sai wishes to become free then I will make sure she becomes free, Naruto says, and Anko slowly nods. What about you, Gao? I know you trust her, but the Hokage could take advantage of that with what Yamanaka, Anko says. Naruto stops in his tracks and rubs his stump. I took care of that. I had Franken place a seal on you, Gao, to create a cage around this location, but scrambles the location as well if the cage is opened, he explains. You are truly an Uzumaki, muses as they continue on. The pair soon reach the surface where Nico is speaking to Franken. Master, if possible, I would like to face this woman in the future, he says. We'll see how things work out, Naruto says. Naruto, I do hope you revive Kushina-sensei's kenjutsu, Nico says. Once I am fully mobile I will please tell the old man to speak to the daimyo and put in a good word with her for me. If he does it will be the first step in possibly fixing things, Naruto says. Also tell Kurenai I am okay. She's probably worried. Same with Hana and her mom says, and Nico slowly nods. Take care of yourselves, Nico says and follows Franken out of the barrier. I wonder if she'll be able to get through to him, Naruto says, taking in some fresh air. Hopefully she can. Yugao is respected among her peers and the Hokage trusts her and grabs his hand. "Come on, I'm going to teach you how to properly perform cunnilingus," she adds, and Naruto blushes, being dragged along. Time would tick by for Naruto as he makes his way to regain his lost limbs, but he didn't neglect his normal body. Anko would drill him daily with push-ups, sit-ups, squats, pull-ups, and other exercises to keep his body healthy. Naruto would decide that he would do his leg first, which would allow him to walk better and work on his cardio. Franken designed the leg to have a small chakra converter like his arm would, allowing the leg to convert chakra in similar fashion like a flamethrower. Ayubi suggested creating a taijutsu that would incorporate kicks, even coating the leg in flames for added firepower. The surgery was painful for the blind, as he needed to be awake to make sure the nerves were connected to his new leg. Sai looks up from her book to see Naruto. "You're walking better," Dicklessly says, and Naruto sighs. He slowly takes a seat and lifts his pants leg to show his new leg, which is a sleek silver color with darker silver colors that look like muscles. "Indeed I am, and this new leg is the reason for it," Naruto says. "So you have replaced your leg?" Sai asks, and Naruto nods, rubbing his thigh. "Your leader Danzo probably knows that I found the Dollmaker's legacy, and that's why he sent you after me," Naruto says. "The Dollmaker, the infamous puppeteer from the first Shinobi War," Sai says. "You're well versed. She could create nearly human puppets. She called them dolls. This is one of her workshops, as she called them," Naruto explains. "Then Danzo-sama will have this power you possess," Sai says, and Naruto tilts his head with a sigh. "No, he won't. I will kill anyone who tries, and I'll salt the earth in which they live," Naruto says, a dark look in his eyes as the flick between red and blue. This shocks her, and she can feel the Kai being subconsciously released. "Is this the power of the Kyuubi?" she says. "Perhaps I don't want to see you die. You are like me, and I would like to save you," Naruto says, and Sai furrows her brow. "Why would you save me? We are enemies," Sai says. Naruto rises to his feet and stretches a bit. "Because no one saved me. The Hokage may think he saved me, but he didn't the same way you think Danzo saved you, but didn't he?" says, heading back to find and get some sparring in. "Why don't you simply get rid of the girl?" Kyuubi says. "Like I said, I want to save someone," Naruto thought. "You saved that Anko girl. Shouldn't that count?" Kyuubi says. "It does, but I can see it in her eyes. She wants someone to save her." Naruto reaches the surface and breathes in the fresh air with the sun shining down on him, but could see some dark clouds in the sky. "Ready for some sparring?" Anko says, leaping down from the tower. Naruto rolls his shoulder with a nod and shifts into a guard stance with his left hand leading. Anko strolls forward with a sway of her body, but she's coiled and strikes with a high kick, which Naruto narrowly dodges, and he counters with a three-piece jab. Anko parries each strike and counters with her own as Naruto dodges, but a few connect, staggering him back, but the blonde spins, sending a heavy kick with his new leg. Anko sidesteps the kick and goes low to sweep out his leg, sending him crashing onto his back as she raises her leg to bring it down, but Naruto swaps it with a rock as she crushes it. "Almost head, you say?" Naruto softly smiles and starts to channel chakra into his new leg, which sees red veins starting to run down the leg. He shoots forward with a flurry of kicks as Anko blocks every one of them, but she sees flames starting to wipe out the leg. "Have you thought of a name for this?" grabbing his leg and swinging him away. Naruto lands with a skid and sprints forward into a leaping dropkick. "Not yet, but Kyuubi says diable jam," he says. "That sounds cool," Anko says, leaping back as Naruto crashes down. Anko sends a flurry of strikes as Naruto blocks and dodges before swinging back and bringing his flaming leg up for a heavy kick, sending back with a skid, but she rushes Naruto and tackles him to the ground. "Not bad," says, bracing on his chest, but slowly leans down to kiss him. The pair slowly start to make out, but a few drops of water hit them and both look up to see a small rain coming down. "We should go inside," Anko says and hops up as Naruto does the same with a kip up. The pair head inside the fort and make their way to the living area. "I'll need to get some flame retardant boots," Naruto says. Shorts too asks. "Maybe, but with some tights or bandages," Naruto muses, putting his new leg up to check things over. One could see where his normal leg ends and his new leg begins. He could have covered it with skin, but decided not to. "Let the world see what Konoha's noble people have done to me," Naruto thought. The blonde's new arm would come next, and like his leg, it is silver in color with gray knuckles and portions of the same color like muscles. Like his leg has a chakra converter to create a flamethrower from the palm by moving the fingers to open a vent in the palm. Franken also outfitted the arm with a retractable elbow blade like the fingers, even trying to convince his master to put blades in his knuckles as well, but Naruto declined. Once the blonde was fully mobile, did he start abusing his shadow clone, using 100 clones a day for nearly 3 months on chakra control and learning the Nico taught him. He would also start on his 5 animal dolls at the same time of 2 wolves, a large snake instead of a white tiger, a snapping turtle, and a white 3-tailed fox. Naruto stands in front of his 5 animal dolls wearing black tights under a pair of fitted cargo shorts, but the left leg of the tights is cut to above the knee, a pair of work boots with numerous seals on them. A short-sleeve mesh shirt with a black jacket having a sky blue interior and a beaked hood, but also the right sleeve missing. An elbow-length black glove on his right arm, but also having no palm, and a normal black glove on his left hand. So what can each do, asks, looking over the 5 animals. Taiyo and Tsuki work in combination. Taiyo can breathe fire and Tsuki breathes wind, Naruto explains. Each wolf comes to Naruto's waist and is white with red eyes with his claws made of steel, while is black with blue eyes, and both have the Uzumaki swirl on their foreheads. Mamba is made in honor of his size is 20 feet with an expandable stomach and jaws allowing him to swallow someone whole. His stomach has several seals that will release high-grade acid to dissolve a body. He can also spit up said body to shock his enemies, Naruto explains, and giggles, smirking. Mamba looks like a normal king cobra, but 20 feet long with olive green skin having black and white bands on the trunk that converge to the head. He has large eyes with golden irises and round pupils, his hood is oval-shaped and covered with olive green smooth scales and 2 black spots between the 2 lowest scales. Once was a man, Mamba hisses. I thought you said they couldn't speak, Anko says. That's a recording a seal on his head to confuse enemies. Kaga is the only one who can speak, Naruto says. The white fox with blue eyes and 3 tails stares at the pair. I was created by a piece of the Kyuubi, thus I am cognizant, Kaga says. Kaga is capable of shooting blue ice-like flames and will-o-wisp-like flames as well. Last is Tetsudo, Naruto says. Tetsudo has a rugged, muscular build with a rigid carapace made of iron, a stretchable neck with sharp claws, and is about 8 feet long. Don't let his size fool you. Tetsudo is fast and is capable of biting into steel, Naruto says. This is nice and all. So are we going to test them out? Naruto pulls on his left glove with a grin on his face, of course he says, and links his fingers together to reverse summon them to seals on his right fingers. Yui approaches with a katana having a white and black hilt with red string coming from it. It is in a black sheath with the Uzumaki swirl imprinted down the length. Here you are, Naruto, Yui says. Naruto takes the sword with a slow nod and slips it into a small harness hanging from his pants. Thank you, Yui Anko, and I should be back in a few days to a week, he says. Be careful, Yui says, and the pair head off before leaving the fort and taking off towards the trees. So how are we testing things, Anko says. We'll find a bandit camp and go from there, Naruto says and smirks as the pair race through the forest. Hiruzen sits at a large semicircle table with the various clan heads, his advisors, the elder council, and members of the merchants guild. It has been just over 3 months since Naruto left the village and the rumors were swirling. Many in the village were elated that the blonde was missing or had finally died. Hiruzen bangs his gavel and calls the meeting to order. I've called this meeting to discuss the rumors surrounding Naruto Uzumaki, he starts, and could see some looks. Tsumin Yazuka and Inoichi Yamanaka have looks of concern, Shibi Aburam, Shikaku Nara and Choza Akimichi were neutral, while Hiashi Hyuga, his advisors Kaharu Utatane and Homura Midokado have looks of blank disdain. The boy is useless to us. However, he should be brought back and the Kyuubi taken from him to be placed in proper vessel, Danzo says. And kill him. Shouts. I agree with Tsum that Naruto is the Yondame's legacy and to cast him aside is dishonoring his memory, Shikaku says. We can't fight against our enemies, Kaharu says. We've never used the Kyuubi's power. Why should we start now? Inoichi says. Hiruzen sighs with his eyes closed as the council slowly starts to bicker with the civilians, bringing up the injuries to several people. Their injuries may have been similar to Naruto's injuries, but those same people have been revealed to be responsible for attacking Naruto, Hiruzen says. Then who was responsible for injuring them? Someone taking revenge for him, one of the merchant members named Shigeru Takamoto. Why don't we have Anbu bring him back to face these charges, Homura says. What charges is that, and what evidence do you have to prove Naruto is responsible? Hiruzen said Homura had no evidence. Where the boy, Hiashi says, thinking how his daughter, despite knowing Naruto is somewhere, hasn't lived up to his standards. In a safe location he has a caregiver and is looking into replacing the limbs with a prosthesis, Hiruzen replies. Was he not posthumously passed? Is it possible for him to become an active ninja despite his disability, thinking of the fact that he wanted the boy dead for his role in the theft of the sacred scroll? Yes, Iruka Yamino did pass Naruto, but I rescinded it due to Naruto's injuries, and by virtue of the rules set down by the Nidame, he is barred from becoming an active ninja, Hiruzen explains, seeing some smug looks from the merchant guild. Given his status, is it wise to let him remain a civilian? He shouldn't be given special treatment. The Hokage has rescinded his passing, thus he failed, says, with his fellow merchants agreeing. Though what would be done with him? He can't be a ninja, and he is too skilled to be a simple civilian. That is something I will decide now if there is no more business to discuss about Naruto. We will continue this council meeting, Hiruzen says, and no one has anything to say. The meeting would continue for another 30 minutes, and Hiruzen would listen to the merchant guild argue to turn Naruto's apartment complex into something else, to the coming exams taking place in. The aged Audi would get to see the son of his successor perhaps competing in the exams, but instead he sees the rage-filled face of the blonde boy. I hate you. Naruto's voice echoes. Hiruzen enters his office after the council meeting to find his student Jiraiya standing in his office and not looking happy. What the hell happened, sensei? Jiraiya says. Hiruzen rubs his eyes and takes a seat at his desk. I told you what has happened, he says. How can he be the dollmaker's legacy? Jiraiya says. She must have had a place hidden in the village and Naruto stumbled upon it. He managed to keep such a secret for some time, and once the incident happened he fled with Anko Mitarashi and two others I believe to be dolls, Hiruzen explains. How could it get this bad? Jiraiya says. Perhaps if you had been here Naruto would be in a better headspace, Hiruzen says, but scoffs. You wanted me out in the field running diversions to keep Iwara Kumo from coming after us after Minato died. I couldn't take a baby with me. Why didn't you have a clan to help raise him? And unbalance the clans, any one of them would have molded him into their personal weapon. I denied Mikoto's request, Kami rest her soul, as well as Tsumin Yuzuka. No civilian family would have taken him given the backlash of his status, Hiruzen says. Maybe you should have enforced your law better, Jiraiya says. Don't presume to lecture me, Jiraiya. I couldn't force the village to care about him, and I couldn't do more than I did unless I risk open revolt. I had to give the merchant guild seats on the council to rebuild the village, and now they have the backing of my advisors, Hiruzen says, reflecting on his mistake to take money from the greedy civilians. Why not go to the daimyo? She was unknown to me at the time, and I was lucky she agreed to my reinstatement, but now it is too late. I am an old man named Jiraiya. I've been too long, and because of it I have driven away my successor's son, Hiruzen says. Where is he? Jiraiya asks. I don't know the location, but I sent a team led by Nico. She met with him and stayed for a little time. However, she hasn't revealed the exact location, Hiruzen says, wanting to order Nico to tell him, but that would send Naruto into further hiding. He even had to attempt in secret to learn the information, but found Nico has a psychological cage around said information. Why not order her to tell you? Jiraiya says. And further damage his relationship with me. He asked that I speak with the daimyo, but I do not believe it will help, Hiruzen says. I'll have my spies keep an eye out for him, Jiraiya says, before leaving through the window. Hiruzen leans back in his chair with a sigh. I need to bring him home one way or another, he thought. Naruto makes his way through a large camp of bandits with his sword dripping blood, and at his side. This is the fourth bandit camp the pair have hit, and the formula for attacking was a simple one of letting them get fully liquored up, then attack during the drunken haze. Those they saved saw them as avenging angels or some case demons, with Naruto giving them the name of the Wanderer to give himself anonymity. Who the hell are you people? What are those things? One of the bandits shouts. He is a ratty looking man with scruffy hair and a lean build, wearing light clothes and carrying a sword. I am a simple wanderer. I help those who are damned find their proper place, Naruto says, devoid of any care for the man's life. The bandit screams a war cry and charges Naruto with his sword raised, but the blonde parries it with his sword to grab the man by the face. Oyasu, Naruto utters, setting the man ablaze with his right arm. The man screams and falls back with heavy flaying as his face burns, but slowly his movements stop as Naruto continues on through the camp. They are not very skilled, Kaga says, her snow white coat stained with blood. Naruto sweeps some blood off of his sword. Compared to ninja, no they are not, but to the everyday person they are cancer. But for now we are a small cure for towns nearby, he says. Naruto shouts, landing behind him. Did you find their leader? Naruto asks. I did, but also someone very interesting said. She leads him through the camp and he sees his creations finishing off the remnants of the camp. The camp is a moderately sized one having about 20 tents, with the largest being for the leader. There were wagons and some horses, but the blonde had scared them off with, and she's a member of the Fuma clan, Anko says. Fuma clan? Naruto asks, hearing Mamba's words on the wind and the screams of others. They have ties to Orochimaru, but she was sold off by their leader, and Naruto narrows his eyes. They soon reach the leader's tent, where has the leader's legs in his jaws with a frail-looking young woman on his back as well. Let me go, you brat, the leader hisses. He is a fat man with a long beard and wearing no shirt, with his pants unbuckled, denoting he was in the middle of sex but had to hastily put on clothes. Naruto meets Kotaro, Fuma says, ramming her boot into the leader's face. Kotaro has a frail figure, but this seems to be due to starvation and beatings. Her ruby eyes are filled with a similar look to his own, and her flame-like hair chopped into a short pixie-esque style. Naruto pulls down his cloth mask to show his face too. Kotaro thinks you are handsome. Kotaro thanks you for saving her, she says. I didn't save you for free. Kotaro. Anko says you are from the Fuma clan, and that clan has ties to Orochimaru, Naruto says, and a scowl forms on Kotaro's face. Betrayers for that vile snake, hisses. Well, I have a vendetta with Orochimaru. Like Anko next to you, Naruto says, and extends his hand. I won't waste time, but I offer you power and the means to not only get revenge for being sold, but on the Fuma as well. Kotaro looks at the blonde in his azure blue eyes and smiles. Kotaro accepts, she says. What do we do with him, says, pointing to the boss. Why not let Kotaro decide what Naruto says? Kotaro looks down at the man who has beaten her, starved her, poisoned her, assaulted her, and destroyed her body, as a cruel smile forms on her face. If Kotaro a kunai, Kotaro says. Anko pulls one out of her pouch as it releases the leader, his legs completely mangled as he attempts to crawl away. Kotaro slides off of and staggers towards the crawling man. Kotaro will make you suffer and will enjoy this, she says, before proceeding to stab the man over 50 times. Would you turn her into a doll, says, watching stab the man. She has a strong will and can be a powerful ally. We'll need powerful allies to survive and to go after Orochimaru, Naruto says. Once was a man, once was man, Mamba hisses, slithering up followed by the wolf twins. Naruto groans as several of his clones dispel to show them killing bandits in various ways. I need to add some ninjutsu to my arsenal, he muses, sitting on. I can teach you a few things I know, Anko says. Naruto creates a clone and it dispels to inform the other clones to search for anything of value and release those captured. That felt good. Kotaro is content, Kotaro says. Naruto looks over the leader and he looks barely recognizable from all the stab wounds, but most were to his crotch. That's good. Now we'll take you back to our base and discuss things going forward, Naruto says, getting off and dispelling his fanged 5. What were those animal summons, Kotaro asks. In a way all will be explained once we return to base, Naruto says and slowly nods, following the blonde she would one day see as her lover. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then, sayonara.